Is she the reason he stopped loving me? Xiao Zhan jealous after Yibo'S late-night visit to Tan Songyun. It was past midnight. The cameras had stopped rolling, the staff had gone home, and the lights in the studio were dimmed to a soft glow. But Xiao Zhan sat alone in the makeup room, staring at his phone, the screen still lit with the photo that had just been sent to him. Wang Yibo, standing outside Tan Songyun's hospital room, his hand on the doorframe like he was afraid to go in. Or like he didn't want to leave. That image burned into Xiao Zhan's mind like fire. He hadn't slept in 2 nights. Not since Yibo started disappearing without telling him. Not since the rumors started again, of Shukai showing up, of Tan Songyun crying, of Wang Yibo being seen in the hallway at 3 a.m. And now this photo. Why her? Xiao Zhan whispered, not even realizing he was speaking aloud. He remembered everything, every moment they fought for one another. From hospital corridors where Yibo stood over him, as he bled out after the stage accident, to nights in hotel rooms when the world tried to tear them apart. Yibo had chosen him again and again. But something had shifted. It started with silence. Wang Yibo no longer replied to his late-night messages. He avoided interviews where Xiao Zhan would be present. Even on set, there was a kind of polite distance, a mechanical kindness. And now he was holding Tan Songyun's hand, when he thought no one was watching. Xiao Zhan felt the air leave his lungs. In the corner of the room, the intercom buzzed. A voice came through. Mr. Xiao, your driver's waiting. But Xiao Zhan didn't move. His grip tightened around his phone until his knuckles turned white. He opened his text history with Yibo. The last message Xiao Zhan had sent him was just 2 words, come home. No reply. He scrolled further. There it was, Yibo'S last message from 3 days ago. I just need space. Please understand. Understand. How could he understand when the man he gave everything to was vanishing before his eyes? Somewhere across the city, inside the hospital ward, Wang Yibo stood by Tan Songyun's bed. She was asleep now, a bandage still on her wrist from the incident a week prior. Her breathing was shallow, and her skin was pale, but she was alive. Yibo pulled the chair closer and sat, watching her. You almost didn't make it, he whispered. I can't believe I almost lost you again. A tear slipped down his face. He hadn't told anyone, not even Xiao Zhan, what happened that night when Songyun collapsed in the bathroom, clutching her chest. He'd rushed her to the emergency room himself, carrying her in his arms through the rain. No fans. No press. Just panic. The doctors said she needed rest, needed to avoid emotional triggers. But it was too late for that. She kept whispering Shukai's name in her sleep. She'd forgotten the accident, forgotten everything about the night her memories vanished. And somehow, in that blankness, she clung to Yibo, like he was the last thing she trusted. Yibo didn't know what to do. He felt responsible. Guilty. But above all, he felt torn. Because while he sat here trying to help Songyun survive the weight of her past, the man who had stood by his side for years, Xiao Zhan, was now slipping away. And it hurt more than he could say. A knock on the door startled him. A nurse stepped in, hesitating. There's someone here to see you. Yibo stood. Who? Xiao Zhan. Yibo froze. The nurse stepped aside, and there he was, Xiao Zhan, drenched in rain, eyes bloodshot, lips trembling. Can we talk? Xiao Zhan asked. Yibo nodded. They stepped into the hallway, where the fluorescent lights buzzed and the silence between them was unbearable. You didn't even tell me, Xiao Zhan said finally. You just vanished. Again. I had to be here, Yibo said. She needed me. And I didn't. Yibo flinched. Xiao Zhan's voice cracked. I watched you sleep in a hospital chair for me. I watched you fight every rumor, every lie, every scandal, just for us. And now, when you think no one's watching, you run back to her. She's not well, Yibo said quietly. I couldn't leave her like that. I'm not asking you to abandon her, Xiao Zhan said, stepping closer. I'm asking you not to abandon me. For a moment, the hallway felt like it was closing in on both of them. Then Yibo whispered, I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did, Xiao Zhan said. And you keep doing it. Yibo looked down. I'm scared. Of what? Of losing everyone. Xiao Zhan let out a bitter laugh. You already are. Just then, the hospital alarm blared. A voice over the speaker called for immediate assistance in room 203. Tan Songyun's room. Without hesitation, Yibo ran. And Xiao Zhan, heart aching, vision blurring, stood frozen in place as the man he loved rushed back to the woman who haunted every silent moment between them. That was when he realized the truth. Yibo wasn't choosing her over him. Yibo was choosing guilt over love. And maybe that was worse. Back in the room, Songyun was awake but disoriented. Her heart rate was erratic, her breathing shallow. Doctors surrounded her. Yibo pushed through them, grabbing her hand. I'm here. I'm not leaving. Xiao Zhan stood outside the glass window, watching. His reflection blurred against the glass, the fluorescent lights flickering over his face. I hope she's worth it, he murmured. But deep down, he knew the truth neither of them could say aloud. Yibo never stopped loving him. He just forgot how to show it. And Xiao Zhan? He never stopped waiting. Even when it hurt. Even when it broke him. Because some loves aren't just lived, they are endured. And this one was war. The coldness of the hospital hallway had nothing on the storm inside Xiao Zhan. He sat alone on the bench outside room 203. It had been 2 hours since the emergency. 2 hours since he watched Wang Yibo run back into Tan Songyun's hospital room and not look back. And he hadn't come out since. Every minute that passed felt like another piece of Xiao Zhan's chest being ripped away. He didn't understand anymore. How could the man who once swore he couldn't fall asleep without hearing Xiao Zhan's voice now be perfectly fine ignoring his presence entirely? Xiao Zhan closed his eyes and leaned back against the wall. He could still remember their last night together. Yibo had kissed his shoulder in silence and whispered, "You're my safe place." Now, he barely said hello. Was Tan Songyun his new safe place? A nurse walked by and gave Xiao Zhan a pitiful glance. He recognized that look. It was the same one fans gave him when rumors spread of their first breakup years ago. The same look they wore when he stood backstage alone during Yibo'S international tour. Pity. He hated that look. Suddenly, the door to room 203 creaked open. Wang Yibo stepped out slowly, rubbing his face with both hands. His jacket was off. His hair was disheveled. He looked exhausted. But his eyes widened the second he saw Xiao Zhan still sitting there. "You're still here?" Yibo asked, voice low. Xiao Zhan stood, hurt rising in his throat. "Was I supposed to leave while you held her hand through the night?" Yibo sighed. "She had a panic attack. The doctors needed me to keep her calm." "And what about me?" Xiao Zhan whispered. "What do I need, Yibo? Or don't I matter anymore?" "Don't say that," Yibo muttered. "Why not?" Xiao Zhan stepped forward, eyes glassy. "You didn't call. You didn't explain. You just started slipping away, and now you won't even look at me the same." Yibo's gaze dropped. "It's not that simple." "Then explain it," Xiao Zhan said. "Explain why you look at her like she's fragile glass, and look at me like I'm the one who broke you." Silence. Yibo shoved his hands into his pockets, trying to control his shaking voice. You don't know what it's like seeing her like that. She's broken, Xiao Zhan. She looks at me like I'm the only thing that's familiar. And what about me? Xiao Zhan's voice cracked. Don't I get to be broken too? Don't I get to fall apart without losing you in the process? I'm not trying to replace you. Then stop acting like I'm disposable. Yibo flinched. Xiao Zhan stepped even closer, his chest rising and falling rapidly. Just tell me. Tell me if I've lost you. Say it to my face so I can stop waiting outside your doors like a fool. Wang Yibo looked up then, and for the first time, Xiao Zhan saw it. Guilt. Not anger. Not rejection. Just guilt. I don't know what I'm doing, Yibo whispered. I walk into that room, and she's crying out for someone who isn't coming. I hold her hand because she doesn't remember the pain, and I do. But then I walk out here, and you're standing there, and suddenly I remember what pain feels like. Xiao Zhan swallowed hard. I can't be her savior and your lover at the same time, Yibo said. I'm losing myself. No, Xiao Zhan said quietly. You're choosing who to save. Tears welled up in his eyes, but he didn't let them fall. Not this time. He'd cried enough over Wang Yibo. I waited in this hallway because I thought I still mattered, he said. But maybe I was wrong. Xiao Zhan turned to walk away. But Yibo grabbed his wrist. Wait. His voice was soft, barely a whisper. But it stopped Xiao Zhan cold. Yibo stepped forward, his voice trembling. I don't want to lose you. Then why are you letting me go? Xiao Zhan asked. Yibo didn't answer. Because he didn't know. He wanted to be the man who stayed. Who protected Tan Songyun from the demons of her past. Who didn't run from pain. But he also wanted to be the man who fell asleep to the rhythm of Xiao Zhan's heartbeat. Who kissed him in backstage corridors. Who whispered I love you like it was a promise, not a burden. He couldn't be both. Not anymore. Xiao Zhan pulled his wrist free. Don't touch me unless you're sure. Yibo looked down. Xiao Zhan took a breath. When you figure it out, come find me. Then he walked away, his shadow stretching down the corridor, disappearing into the harsh hospital lights. And for the first time since they met, Wang Yibo didn't follow him. He just stood there. Alone. Inside the room, Tan Songyun stirred. She opened her eyes slowly, voice weak. Was someone here? Yibo didn't answer. Because yes, someone was here. But he was already gone. And Wang Yibo had no idea how to get him back.